What's up, everyone? My name is Brian Thomas. I'm a New York City-based filmmaker and photographer, and this is my podcast. Do you like the wink at the end? During COVID, we all kind of lost our minds for a second. During this time, I decided to go deeper and see what else comes. Oh, that was bad.
From now, do whatever you want to say. Don't stop.
Don't stop?
Don't
Okay,
stop.
because we can always cut it.
Don't think that, oh, this is correct. No, just keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. So after many years of being in front of the camera, I like being behind the camera. But recently, my branding person, my marketing person, they're like, you got to get back in front of the camera and you need to get out there. And I'm like, why do I want to do this? What do I want to share? What value do I have to bring to people besides making fierce projects and pictures and videos? And I'm like, how do they do stuff like that? I've always wondered, and I've always followed such great photographers, and I'm always wondering how they do that. And there's certain people that do share this information, and I really learned a lot from them. So I decided, why can't I do the same thing? Someone did it for me. So in this podcast, what I really want to do is share the uncut interviews, the goof ups, the real moments that you don't see in a finished, polished product. I've done a lot of documentaries, music videos, film and TV, and everything looks so polished at the end, but the behind the scenes, uncut interviews, like these are the most fun. Like, people don't understand what goes on behind the camera. So that's why I'm doing this, to share with you what it takes to create art and what it takes to get to that final product. And it's really not about the final product. It's about the journey there. So this uncut version, this uncut stuff that we do is I'm just blabbing.
Keep going.
I'm just blabbing. They're going to make me go anyway. So I just decided that, fuck it, we're just gonna put something together uncut, and we're gonna release it to everybody, because everybody deserves to have the opportunity to create. You know, when I was growing up in this business, people with money or people that were established or people that their dad was in the business, they controlled everything and they had the in. If I would have had social media and the things that are out now, and YouTube and ways to learn, I mean, it's really helped me personally as an artist to grow. That's how I got into filmmaking, was watching YouTube stuff. I'm like, I can do this. I learned about lighting on YouTube. So now that I'm in a place where I can help people, why not do that for someone else? Why not create content for that person, like back in my hometown in Michigan, that thinks, wow, I want to make movies someday. So that's why I'm making this podcast, and I'm going across all platforms and releasing this media, because someone helped me once and I want to just pay it forward.
Why share those artists' stories? Why the empathy? Why these stories instead of just tips of how to take photos?
Okay, good question. For so long, I've been in the commercial world, and it's always been about the final product, the final pose, the fierce picture, the best music video. And it seems now everybody cares more about why they're making it, how they made it, and more behind the scenes, more real things. I mean, we've had 4 years of crazy and unreal bullshit. So I think during this time, I just realized myself that I want to co-collaborate. I want to collaborate with other artists and tell their story. You know, I'm a filmmaker. I make documentaries now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about me being the choreographer, the director, whatever. It's about their story. So if I can inspire you with somebody else's story and some of these uncut interviews and how they got to where they got, you know, maybe something that I said may not inspire you, but something that the producer said in his interview, or the artist, or the model, or the porn star, or whoever it is, we're all human, and everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves to be heard. So for me, empathy is so important, understanding that you're no better than this person. You shouldn't be judging this person. What you should do is sit down and listen to their story. No matter who we are, we need to listen to each other. You may not agree with it, but you need to listen to it. And I think that's where empathy comes in and why I want to do this. Is I want to help. I don't want to tell their story. I want to just open the platform so they can tell their story and we can do it together. I help with the visual part, but I'm really inspired by the artist and the subject and the people in the film or the interview or behind the camera like Renzo or Brian, my producer, who's amazing. Love you, Pooh. Is it Wednesday? Oh, it's not Friday yet. How was that for a run-on sentence?
That was good. That's actually good. When you're on a roll, you're actually on a roll.
I know, but you know what it is?
Don't be
You know what it is? Sometimes, like, I didn't grow up in the best school, and you can use this.
God,
I'm just saying some of my insecurities come in these types of interviews because I've always been a visual artist. I've never been a great speaker, in my opinion. I don't feel like I have been. I get twisted on my words. I'm already thinking 4 paragraphs ahead. So sitting here is me being very vulnerable because I like interviewing people, but I don't like to be interviewed. So I want to open myself up for everybody with a good light because I think we can have empathy and a good light. I think you can marry the commercial world and the do-gooder world of spirituality and, oh, don't worry so much about well, people want to look good too, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So we can promote empathy and we can have good lighting. Why not marry the two? So that should be my tagline. Empathy with a good light. This light is amazing, right? This is my beauty dish. I got this from B&H. There's no grid. I took the grid off because it's really harsh. And now that I'm in my 50s, I got to have a pretty strong light. So I think this Barbara light is working for me.
What light is that?
This is a 300x aperture light. It's amazing. It's more about the beauty dish on top of it. It's just bathing me and making me look.
Why lighting is so important for you?
Why is lighting so important? Oh my God. That's actually a spiritual question because I love contrast and I love creating from dark. Usually I'll have everything dark first and then I'll turn on one light and then shape the light. And it's kind of like my motto and why I started dark matter in a lot of the projects and even Poetic Truth was creating out of darkness. Everyone has such a negative connotation or feeling about darkness. They're afraid in the darkness or, oh, it's the dark times. And for me, I've been most creative in those times. If we're talking about personal shit in my life, when the most tragic things happen, my best work came out of it. And that's why I think Poetic Truth, this series that I've finished working on, it's a life journey, started was during this COVID stuff. Of course, it sucked. Everything shut down. I have a business, we have this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to create something. I'm going to create something that I'm proud of. And then I'm like, I don't want to just create, I want to co-create. I want to bring other artists into it. I want to know more about their lives and what they're going through and give them a platform to speak. And we can share platforms. I mean, this is a really incredible time for the world, I think, because in my day, everything was polished and you could only be on 3 channels. Now you can just be everywhere. So I'm ready. We're going to go everywhere. I'm coming for you, social media. It's a love-hate thing, but I love my light.
So what's the concept of the difference between like TV or all media and social media? That this topic that we talked today about the difference of creating a trailer and this is creating content and what do you understand right now?
This whole branding, social media versus like I was telling Renzo, my branding guru. In my generation, in my time, you would build up to the final release, whether that was a music video or whatever you promoted for that special release, for that special product, and then all the glory came after that. Now it's like, it's just push shit out. I mean, I watch different people, Gary Vee, I love Gary Vee. A lot of people just say, you just gotta push out media, push out media, push out media. And I'm like, people are gonna get sick of this shit. Like, and this is just too much. It feels too much. But now that I'm understanding people want more and they want good quality videos, podcasts. I mean, I only follow people that I really look up to. I'm not just following anybody. So I think if you put quality stuff out, stuff that creates value, as opposed to, look at my project, look what I did. It's more about you creating something so they can grow in exchange. And then, yeah, if you want to see my stuff, it's on my website. Who cares? You get hired to do that stuff. So for social media, I think it's more about together we grow, maybe, and your website's for your final products. And I had it reversed. I was looking at my social media like my website. Like I'm thinking my website needs to be Instagram. So it's only the best pictures. It's only the best this. And really that's not the case. People want to know how you got those pictures, why you chose that lighting, why you chose that model. How was it working with that model? That model's hot. Who is that model? So, why not go bigger and make social media a platform where people can get a little more intimate with me, my work, and the people that I work with. Wow, that Mountain Dew's kicking in. Woo!
What are you working right now? What type of projects?
What am I working on right now? Oh my gosh. Brian Rubiano, my business partner, my producer from hell. We are working on a lot of different things. I have Amy's Victory Dance, was a documentary I shot a few years ago now. We're looking for distribution for that. We are finalizing another documentary that we've been working on called Follow, Lead, Love. I was waiting for him to join me because he's right here in the room. Follow, Lead, Love. It's incredible. I'm still working on my pictures and my artistry, music videos. We're editing Nino's music video right now. P.S. Love Robbie. There's just is in production, pre-production, production. We're just going. To me, it's about create, and then when there's energy around something, you jump in. And if it keeps moving, you keep moving. A lot of people ask me, do you like pictures better? Do you like doing video better? Do you like directing? Honestly, it's wherever I'm at, I think I'm just at. So if I'm doing photography, I'm just so into it. I love it so much. There's so many creative things you can do. You can change the lighting. You can change the pose of the model. You can, light from the back. You can do so many cool things. You can add diffusion. There's just a lot of cool things you can do. Film is a whole nother beast. You have to really know what you're doing. And the fact that I do know lighting and photography makes directing and filmmaking much easier. So I guess in a nutshell, wherever I'm at is where I'm at. I enjoy all platforms. Editing I love. It is more time consuming. But I think if I had to choose one, editing would be my least favorite. I don't even know if you asked me that question. I just kind of threw it out there. I'm just telling you.
And how do you manage your time? How do you do
How do I manage my time? Oh my God. I just try to be home before the news because I love, I stopped watching the 6:30 Lester Holt. I love you, Lester Holt. But Miss Reed, I'm home for the readout. I love the readout. So I'm home by 7. I try to get home by 7 to watch the news, but as far as my time, I don't know. I'm here. This is my second home. I'm at my studio. I have to walk my puppy in the morning. I have my boyfriend at home. So, when I'm done, I go home. Unless I'm really missing my puppy, then I have to go home and take him for a walk, my little schmooks. I am Kojimoto. Follow him on Instagram.
Why do you have a studio not working from your home?
I did work from my home for a while. Studios in New York are freaking expensive. And you get like a cubicle for, I mean, it's expensive. For a while, when I couldn't afford it and I was still transitioning into photography and filmmaking, I would lift my sofa up and get a backdrop, a paper, whatever, and put it in front of my sofa. I mean, I had no room in my front room. The chandelier's moving. And then the model would have to come to Harlem, where I live in West Harlem, and we would shoot at my house. And I mean, I don't let those things stop me. If I want to do something, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it. That's it. If I have to start in my house, I'll start in my house. So that's where I started. And finally, I saved up enough and I looked around and I found a studio here in Midtown. I'm like, oh, I can do this. And I like this. And it's much easier. You have much more, when you have more space, your creative juices flow. And it's good to get out of the house and create outside of your house where you live. That should be kind of your sanctuary where you relax, spend time with your boo, take a hot bath, listen to Sade, and play with your puppy. And leave work where work is supposed to be. But I don't even look at this like work. This is just my creative space.
So do you work?
Do I work? Work for me is budgeting. Anything with dealing with the left side of my brain, with money or structure or organizing, that is work for me. Creative, making stuff, doing pictures, I could go 26 hours a day because to me it's fun. Creating is fun, and it's never ending for me. I've always been that way since I was a little kid, and I don't look at creating like work. Work is trying to figure out a budget. That's why I have Brian, my producer.
If you are in a creative block, how do you unblock yourself?
If I'm in a creative block, how do I unblock? No, I'm kidding. I wish. That doesn't work for me. I just eat lots of chips. If I'm in a creative block, I usually just take a break. Sometimes you're so focused on getting a certain outcome. For instance, I'm doing a music video right now and I'm like, oh, I don't like this section, whatever. I'm like, you know what? Just go home. Go spend time with nature, whatever. Go walk through Port Authority. Just take a break and come back. So I've learned over the many years of doing this that sometimes you just need to shift things around and take a break, come back the next day, and usually something will click. So taking a break, taking a breath, that usually helps me, and not stressing out about it. Why do people need to listen to this? I mean, it's really a human problem. And I always go back to empathy, because as a kid, being gay, carrying my little Wonder Woman doll to school, I got teased, I got picked on, I was feminine. I mean, it wasn't a good time. Elementary school was not a good time for me. But I'm a good person. I don't know why they hate me so much just because I love Wonder Woman. And I still love her, bitches. She's my girl. I didn't know there was other gay people out there. I didn't know there was someone else out there like me. I didn't see any role models on TV. And I always said, if people just could be in my shoes, they would understand I'm not such a bad person. Because I treat everybody with respect. So people really need to see this body of work, because it's about, all my body of work now is about empathy. And if you could just put yourself in somebody else's shoes, maybe you may not criticize or judge. Your life is much easier when you stop judging people. You will be so stress-free once you stop. And it's hard. I judge people. You're walking to work, and this guy, my office is on 38th. He's got a needle in his arm on the corner, and he's asking for spare change. My first thing is, ugh. But then I'm like, okay, stop. I have to retrain my brain. Like, okay, maybe he just lost someone. Maybe something really serious happened to him. He wasn't born this way. So if you know somebody's story, maybe you'll quit judging and you'll be a friend, as opposed to, someone that just is quick to judge people. That's what the whole series of Poetic Truth is about. It's about empathy and listening to other people's stories. Like, mine was about being gay. His was about being, Filipino in a white, male-dominated industry. And I just want to help. I want to be an ally and open the platforms.